We're joined by Adam Meister. How's it going, Adam?
Hi, Adam.
Hey, dude, it's awesome to be here. Wow.
We're talking about the lifetime Scammy Awards.
Oh, yeah. This is a great question.
Dan Larimer. You could go with John McAfee.
He's horrible.
You could go with Craig Wright, the alleged fake Satoshi. Or you could go with Jed McCaleb from Ripple Mt. Gox.
All right. So obviously, we're gonna narrow it down here. Obviously, this guy runs a cult. So this is
all right. So we're gonna let Sarah and Tatiana leave. You guys have to come back, Sasha, and you have to bring back someone else too. Okay. Bring back more people. And the more people, there you go.
See you later.
Careful, lots of cables, very dangerous.
all right.
They're gonna make it.
All right. Scoot over.
All right, so how do you get your own microphone?
All right.
Now?
It's sausage fest. It's sausage fest. You read my
We're
mind.
back to the normal Bitcoin conference here. Everyone home has stopped commenting on things, so that's great.
Okay, but this
We're
is
back to
important.
Bitcoin
It's really important to talk about this guy though, because I still get questions about this guy. Like, oh, he said he's making this bold prediction. I'm like, why is anyone listening to this guy? He is crazy. He literally makes no sense. And what did this man do in Belize? That's a legitimate question.
Well,
why can't he go back to Belize? Why can't he go back to Belize? I think I know why he can't go. Why he cares about dogs more than humans? That's something that's out there.
Somebody watched the Netflix documentary Gringo, which is available on Netflix.
Again, did anyone ever believes a word that this man and puts him on a pedestal? But that's the mainstream crypto media loves big names like this, so he knows how to get their attention.
That's called an appeal to authority.
Well, so his only real scam is that he promoted some altcoins before, and he did it for money. Right?
Coin of the day, $100,000 per day. Yeah. So he did it at least 10 times. That's $1 million to promote random coins.
I mean, there are people that get paid a lot for that to promote random coins.
Sure.
But so this was my pick.
All right, Craig Wright.
As far as effort put in, he put in the most effort into his scam.
What we like about him is he didn't make anything. He just copies other people things.
Well, I want to get the lifetime scam award because he backdates so much as well. So he's not just living in the now of scam. He's like making stuff all the way back.
Yeah, future, past. Yeah.
But I got a question for Jimmy about this guy here. Do you think his exit scam is going to be to get the BSV Satoshi coins? Yeah. That'll be programmed in there eventually.
Well, so I think they'll hard fork, and then he'll say, "Well, the courier didn't arrive or something. Let's just assign these coins to me," and then he'll just live off of that for the rest of his life.
Oh yeah, it'd be a huge win.
And I think one of my friends. Well, one of my friends thinks like this is gonna end up like Heaven's Gate style, right? Like. There are people that believe in this guy so much.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, I'm sure you've seen the Ryan X Charles video with the, is he Jesus Christ thing, but like there's a serious like sort of brain disconnect when it comes to this guy, that that astounds me that people can believe some of the stuff that he's saying.
No, but shouldn't it give you like a broader perspective on how humanity thinks? There are always going to be a certain percentage of people who want to get behind a bold, talking, strong man. I mean,
attacking the human brain in some way. It's like they're basically. So he's figured out from years of being a con man certain ways to hook people. And then once you get a hook into them, it's like a parasite that lives in your brain and expands. And, that's the best way to, I think, describe like what's happened to a lot of these people. I mean, Daniel was a, pretty rational guy.
He was a big Bitcoin supporter, Nakamoto Institute, articles, stuff like that.
Like he's
hyper Bitcoinization, I think was his word, maybe.
And all coins are are snake oil, something like that.
Sure,
that was a classic article.
Yeah.
But like the way he talks about BSV and everything else is just like completely out there, right? And the way that BSV people talk about BSV is very much like a cult. Yes. So typically what happens when somebody's in a cult is that they have sort of like what they talk to outsiders about and then what they talk to insiders about. So the outside is sort of like the defense perimeter, right? Yeah. It's like, well, we don't know that he's not Satoshi, right? Like that's sort of like the defense that they give. But within it's talking about like these weird things that Craig talks about how, you know, like you really can own databases, or, you know, you can like he has a copyright, or like he's right because of these things. Like they don't necessarily defend any of that from the defense perimeter. Like usually the things that they talk to outsiders about is, well, you need bigger blocks because you need lots more transactions per second. And, you know, you need to get rid of, you know, pay to script hash or something like that because it wasn't in the original client. So stuff that's like more rational sounding to outsiders, but internally it's getting completely off the rails. And that to me is very worrisome, because this is exactly what happens to cults like, you know, Jim Jones or whatever. Yeah, like where people end up actually like killing themselves and stuff. You know, it's like,
well,
and it has to be
their money's on the
worried.
line. They've probably put all their money in this. They've seen it lose. They've seen it go up recently. They're well in. Yeah.
It's very difficult to admit you've been scammed as well. So these
And that's what he relies on.
Much, they can't turn back because they've defied all logic, you know, to get into that space.
Well, and I want to agree with what Jimmy said, that he had prior scam experience. This guy's an organized, ready con man. It's not a shame or a bad thing to be fooled by him. He fools lots of people. That's what he does. That's his job. So when he rolls in here, he's already prepared with all these different levels of things.
Yeah, and a lot of people honestly came into the Bitcoin space in that same way, right? Like there were, I mean, the fact that they've gone to altcoins, I think, is a blessing in disguise, right? Because they've all started their own ICO or token or marketing firm or something, right? Like where they're providing like you know, rent-seeking services to people for lots of tokens or something like that.
Well, how about this? I've heard a theory that Roger Ver was really the Pied Piper, and he intentionally led these bad people away from Bitcoin so that he could later come back and be a hero for ridding us of all the snakes.
That'd be a nice story.
Isn't that a nice story?
That could only come from the mind of a fiction writer that wants the story to be true.
Come on,
It'd
Roger,
be a nice,
we're giving you a chance here, man.
Well, that's an opening.
We're bringing him back, man.
Yeah,
it's an
it
opening.
gives him an opening. You say, this is what I was doing.
Intended, he could pick it up, and he could come back and be.
I don't think so. Well, I mean, so if
I just want him to insult me on Twitter so I can be a millionaire. Come on, Roger, make fun of me. Tell me I'm poor. Come on, any day now, any day.
Yeah, and he's like, if you've been paying attention to the IFP stuff on BCH, it's so clear that he's just been lying over and over, right? Like he signs the agreement, he defends it for 4 days, and then all of a sudden he's like, I didn't mean to sign the agreement.
No, that's for the 12.5% fee, the miner's reward kind of thing.
Now it's down to 5.
But here's the question, though. Do you agree with what's coming out of his mouth now, saying he does not want a split? He'll do anything to prevent a split of Bcash. I think
too late.
I believe it will split. It's too far ahead, but I do believe he is trying his hardest not to have it split, because
it looks terrible for him. He remembers what happened, right?
He lose last time.
Like he's gone through 2 splits now, and both times I think he kind of lost a lot. So, and his reputation keeps going down. The people. A lot of the pump in BSV was a lot of BCH people moving because they were like, what the hell? Like, you know, he's not doing any of this stuff. And they didn't like his dishonesty. So in a sense, like his brand keeps getting tarnished, and he's trying to recover whatever is left among the people that actually still respect him. So in a sense, he's burning bridges like crazy. It's kind of like trying to marry a divorced person at this point, right? Like, it's like, you've been divorced twice already. Do I marry a twice divorced person?
And they got kids and this family and that family and this deal.
You have a history of not keeping your marriage promise or contract, and you got sued for divorce as a result. Like, do you really want, like, you know, that's kind of the situation a lot of BCHers kind of aren't in now. It's like, do I really want to keep going with this guy?
So would you welcome Roger back?
No.
Oh.
Well, it's not.
I don't know. It depends on what he says, right?
He's a nice guy. He's a nice enough guy.
Well, so the thing that I realized about him is that he has he thinks of himself as having been more influential in Bitcoin than he actually was. And, one of the things that he said in our debate on the cruise was, I made Bitcoin what it is today. Whoa. And I will make Bitcoin Cash I will do the same for Bitcoin Cash. He genuinely believes that the reason Bitcoin has value is because of all the marketing work that he did in 2012, 2013, 2014. And that's like, I don't think that belief ever goes away from him, because like that's kind of the person he is. I don't know, maybe something happens where that changes, but like that's his view, is that he's the important part of whatever project, and any project that has him will succeed because of him.
I think once you believe something like that, you can't let it go. It's a core part of his belief in his existence.
Of his identity. Yeah.
I mean, really, the rest of us, I just think Bitcoin's this great product, and we all jumped on. You programming, me doing videos, you doing videos, you rapping, all these things. Bitcoin's just a great project. It doesn't matter if we did what we did. Bitcoin would go great because it's a great project. But every little bit helps. Everyone does help. Roger definitely helped. Going to those meetings, talking to people. The whole Eric Voorhees describing him as Bitcoin Jesus because he was surrounded by the children and he was teaching them Bitcoin. It's a beautiful image, this backyard barbecue and all the young people around Roger. And that was great. And that's a great idea. But yeah, that wasn't really the fuel. It's a great product. People are going to buy it anyway.
I mean, a bit more chitty chitty bang bang child catcher than Jesus.
He to me, like, so when you have that sort of the mentality, it's like you said, very hard to let go of that identity. And the question is, would he ever be willing to give up that identity and come back to Bitcoin? I don't know. I've seen a lot of people like that, right? Like there's a story I always tell about the Amway woman, right? Like there's a woman that I read about that have been doing Amway for 40 years. Okay, Amway for 40 years.
Yeah,
she didn't make
Scientology at that point.
Yeah. I mean, she literally didn't make any money off of it, but she believed in everything about Amway. That was a part of our identity. She couldn't give it up. Most people that do Amway, they quit within a couple of years because they realize it's a pyramid scheme of some kind, or MLM or whatever, and they go, okay, well, I'm not making money off of this, and all I'm doing is paying out to these other people that are actually making money. So in a sense, like when you had that embedded into your identity, it doesn't, like, it's very hard to let it go. So that's the position that I think a lot of, honestly, B cashers are in, a lot of BSV people in. The only thing that'll slap them back into reality is losing lots of money.
There's two ways. There's winning and losing. Yeah. What they really want is a win. If they could just have a Pyrrhic victory and say, hey, we did it for the transactions, or we did it for the block size, it's bigger now, so we can claim victory and go back to work. That would be great, but that's not going to happen. Well, there's never going to be any victories for them to celebrate. Sadly, I think it's going.
I disagree though. With they keep on getting BSV they keep on feeding them these little victories. Like, oh, now it's
that's
three.
What you need.
And that's what Calvin's job is, I guess, is to keep on feeding. But I guess he's the one manipulating the price.
He likes all kinds of little things.
Oh,
it's so easy.
But no, they keep on. It gives them this hope when they see these BSV pumps. They don't care about what's causing the pump. Oh, you see this? It's about to turn. He's about to sell. He's about to sell his 1 million Bitcoin that he really has. So they do keep on getting these little prods and little reassurances. So Bcash doesn't give that out anymore, which is they're real. I mean, they're not trying to fake it. What they're doing, they don't have someone manipulating it behind.
I mean, they do that. It's usually in the payments realm. Oh, look at all these Australian people in this one tiny.
Yes, that event in Northern Australia.
Yeah, and that's always been sort of like Roger's hook. Oh, look at how many merchants are accepting it and stuff like that. He doesn't really understand the economics of it.
Well, it's always been a chicken and egg. You can have lots of merchants, but if no one's spending any money.
The thing is, you have to understand the quality of the merchant. If they're just taking your money and converting it to dollars, you just sold some Bitcoin. That's all you've done.
That's it.
So in a sense, like he's like fixated on that narrative too, because that too is a large part of his identity. I mean, like there was someone that was telling me, like, he used to go out to dinner with Roger back in like 2013, 2014. Every single time he would be like, do you take Bitcoin? Right? Like that was his thing, was getting merchants to adopt it. And that was I think how he thought he was contributing value to Bitcoin was by getting merchants to adopt it, when all evidence says that that doesn't matter, right? Like, in fact, a lot of merchants stopped taking Bitcoin and Bitcoin price went up.
The best result I always thought on that was at the Bitcoin Bowl. BitPay did what I always said. They went door to door with teams of people, and they got these businesses to all take Bitcoin. Then they never came back.
Yeah.
They didn't say, oh, Monday night's pizza night, we're going there. Tuesday night, we're going to the cafe.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone, call up your friends. We need to be using this at the cafe. They need to, because otherwise the tablet gathers dust. The employee who's trained works somewhere else. Yeah. And then pretty soon the only Bitcoin they take is that sticker on the door, and they're on the coin map, but you can't actually use it there. And that's the sad story of merchant adoption, done right by pros, all the resources, finances you can need. If there's not demand for people to use it, it doesn't matter if you're accepting it. It's economics, right?
Yeah, and that was the tragedy of that whole and this is why BitPay is on the Bitcoin Cash bandwagon, is because it makes them important in that thing, right? Like, I think Roger realized at some point, okay, if this is the way Bitcoin's going to go, I'm not, at least emotionally, I'm not going to be very important in this community. And
again, you could just take your massive retirement fund and go sit on the beach and have a nice time, or show up to conferences and be
but
loved.
It's important for him to be important, right?
Yeah, it's more than money. He already got all the money that he wanted. He wanted something more, so he had to have his way no matter what, and he got his way. And we'll see how it goes.
Bitcoin Jesus, Jesus, there's only one, and so Roger Ver needs to be the only one sort of senior.
Maybe he felt he had to go through the entire kind of life cycle of the Jesus, of being accepted and rejected and crucified and so forth.
Whole new biblical level there, man.
I mean, they call him Judas now. I mean, all the words are on the table.
Do you think though that he really believed this guy was Satoshi? Do you think he really believed that?
Well, so his mental thing is he'll believe what he needs to believe to be who he wants to be.
That's beautiful.
Right?
That's a good explanation.
And he believed that Craig was Satoshi because it was convenient, right? For a lot of those people, rationality is a tool, or it's a lot of people that are political are the same way, right? Like, as soon as they hear an issue, they're waiting to figure out which side their candidate is on so they could go defend it. Yeah. It's not about thinking through things rationally. And that's exactly he ran for office at one point, right? Like, this
was young. Yeah.
There are people that think this way. They tend to become politicians for that reason, because they could defend whatever argument that whatever side that they need to in order to do that. And they don't really have sort of real belief per se. It's he believed that
because it helped him. It was convenient.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, if we're going to psychoanalyze Roger Ver, going back to that initial case, what I understand is that he had a business selling fireworks. That's fine. You're selling fireworks, firecrackers. There's lots of rules, right? But he was storing the fireworks in his apartment, and his apartment was connected to other people's apartments. So if his fireworks from his business exploded, it would kill other people. Mm-hmm. So the government comes in and they say, no, you can't store fireworks in your house. This is illegal. He gets in a fight and he has to go to jail for that. And from then on, he's mad and angry against the government. But really, it's about, he kind of violated the non-aggression principles. By having lots of fireworks in your house, you make other people unsafe. That's not fair. He should have had a whole private separate residence where the explosion wouldn't have damaged anyone, or followed the fireworks selling rules and guidelines or whatever. That's my basic understanding.
Yeah, he's what I would call not like a true libertarian, like arriving at that from sort of rational level. He arrived at that from a more emotional level, like you said, right? Because he got screwed over by the government. Now this is the ideology that I believe that justifies my being angry at them. It
does. And he's very angry. It's a very part of that. Maybe Bitcoin didn't make him angry anymore. We were too successful and too happy. And he's like, I need something new to aggravate me. I need an enemy.
So if Roger, maybe his emotion led him to the belief, or let me believe about Craig White being Satoshi. What about John Matonis and Gavin Andrews?
There was a trick. There was some trick there, wasn't there?
The SHA thing, I think, was what. So he did one round of SHA and then signed it, and that was basically from like one of the early blocks or something like that. Which Gavin, I don't think he checked as he should have. And if you know about Gavin, you actually know that he's not that great a coder and actually kind of sloppy, much like Jeff Garzik and Mike Hearn. So I'm not surprised that he got fooled in that way, because he probably wasn't like, rigorous in his checking that he should have been.
It didn't sound like the laptop was absolutely factory new. And it also didn't sound like the Wi-Fi network was absolutely trusted. So there's like multiple places where you could have just inserted a man in the middle computer that gives you the results you need to prove whatever you need to prove.
I read it was like, instead of calling the function signature, a variable which was dollar signature, which he already had pre-programmed in.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, again, the guy is like so committed to scamming, right?
Yeah.
But that's how I would explain him. John Mentonis also seems kind of like a political guy, right? He was with Bitcoin Foundation very early and stuff, and a lot of political types again have that sort of mentality where rationality is a tool to justify what they want to believe and not a way to discover truth, right? And that's not a good way to live, right?
Well,
like
that happens
makes
with history and science. If you seek to fulfill your hypothesis or you seek to write your history book a certain way, you'll ignore the evidence or you'll weigh it differently because of your pre-chosen belief. And that's what good disciplines teach you not to do. They teach you to go out and explore, and the results are the results. And you got to, even if it ruins your theory, you got to put the true results.
Yeah, and that's integrity, right? And it's a virtue for a reason. And it's one of those things where if you don't have it, you really can't trust anything that comes out of that person's mouth, because they will defend anything, right? Like they'll say anything. They'll in order to get you to believe it. And this is why people don't trust salesmen, because they are often like that, and they'll use any tactic in order to get you to believe whatever it is that you don't know what it is that and
you can't trust their information.
Yeah, so John Mentonis, I think, definitely falls in that same category.
People are saying stuff there. Conviction, people have conviction. Pound that like button. All right.
Go.
Well, this is okay.
So obviously,
people can ask questions there. Do a chat, people. Yeah. Let's go over more of the which awards were covered so far.
I think we've done these. Done these. We did them all.
No, this is Scammer of the Year. This one's
it's of the year. Oh, right.
Of the year.
Right is also nominated.
Lifetime versus of the year.
Okay.
He's nominated.
No, I know who should win of the year. It shouldn't be him. This is Lifetime.
Okay, so we got Craig Wright. Talked about him a lot.
I
don't know who that one is.
Someone that both of us have had on our show before.
The fake Satoshi guy.
Yeah. Hang on. Let's talk about this guy, because he's been on both our shows before in the past.
Hex coin. And the final one is Justin Sun from Tron. This is a really tough category. Scammer of the year. But you want to talk about Richard Hart from Hex?
Well, he has to win. He said the biggest thing of the last year.
Okay, so lay it out. What scam did they do?
I mean, he made up his own coin that he was going to give away for free. Yeah. But then at the same time, he was selling it for Ethereum to people. So I say the people scammed themselves that gave him Ethereum, okay? But you could have gotten the thing for free. But it's a ridiculous project.
They also scam themselves if they had low information on Richard Hart. He's been around the community for a long time. A lot of people, I think, knew that he's allegedly Richard Schuler, the scam king, and that he used to send out lots of spam mail back in the 90s. And that's how he made his money, essentially scamming people, selling them fake products through spam, which he thought was fine, which again, from a libertarian perspective, sometimes, you can take advantage of people and victims, and it's their fault for being suckers. So in a lot of ways, he made a lot of sucker money once. Then he came into this Hex thing, and it seems like he made a lot of sucker money again. Much like Right.
I want to point out something with him about people not having enough information on him.
Right.
Now, a personal responsibility is a new counterculture. Okay, people, you find out on your own. But there were a lot of people in our space that have shows, that have podcasts, that knew exactly what he is, and they let him on the show again to talk about this stuff. Now, we had him on our shows long ago before he was into this. We didn't know all that stuff. He loved Bitcoin. It was great, whatever. But a lot of time has passed since then. He has exposed himself many, many times. And then he starts talking about this thing, and everybody's got to have him on their darn show.
It's a mistake,
and it was so illegitimate.
Well, a lot of people are chasing the views. They want to get a lot of views, a lot of controversy. But if you're
great at marketing
him up,
stuff. He's great at
talking. A lot of these, just by being in the conversation, him and say Giacomo, him and McCormick or whatever.
Yeah.
By being in the conversation, they elevate Richard Hart.
Exactly.
He's a great talker. A lot of times he kicks their butt rhetorically.
Yep.
Even if he doesn't have the facts on his side.
Exactly. He lies.
And just by being in the conversation, I think he wins.
So
Yeah.
it's a fine balance
Exactly.
between shutting down the platform and getting someone to speak because you want them to trip up on themselves and for other people to see how much of a scammer they are.
Now that's based on the optimistic idea that people will actually change their mind if you give them evidence.
No,
Sadly, if they're
doesn't.
just rooting Team Hex or whatever, they could watch the same video and see the same slip-ups, but see him as talented for dealing with a tough situation.
Yeah, so I mean, those were akin to political debates, right? It doesn't do anything to change anyone's mind. The thing that I would like to point out about why he should win Scammer of the Year is that he ran a super long con, right? It's a 4-year con, something like that.
Even longer than EOS.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, and it took a long time for him to set this up. He came on your shows and things like that early as a way to get credibility and then draw viewers to his channel. And then he grew that audience for a long time. And then finally it culminated in Hex.
It's beautiful. It's like a beautiful scam, right?
I don't know if I would say it's beautiful. It just took a lot of dedication.
It's like a pyramid. It has all these pieces. They fit together.
Yeah,
only a genius could build something.
Well, so again, it's this is the sad tragedy of a lot of these scammers is that they put so much effort, time, and money into scamming that if they put into any productive endeavor, we'd all be much better off. But instead, they'd rather take money through violence and through trickery, through scamming, through fraud, and that to me is the real tragedy. Is that they're essentially trying to steal money from other people instead of creating value on their own.
I suppose the thing is the stock market's a zero-sum game. Someone wins, someone loses all the time. And I suppose these people justify it by being like, well, at the end of the day, someone's always got to win and someone's got to lose. So they're like, I might as well.
Well, so that's a very static sort of like socialist view of money, right? If somebody loses, someone has to win. The thing about economics is that if you're creating a new good or product, right, you're always adding to civilization in some way. That if people want, if I make a new widget, right? Like if I'm able to make a new phone for $5, right? Like that's as good as an iPhone. That adds benefit to everyone, right? Because people can buy it for a lot cheaper. And it hurts Apple because now they can't sell it for $1,000 or whatever. But it adds value to everybody else. And on net, because the cost of iPhones have gone down, now people can use it for all sorts of other things and make new products off of that, or think of new use cases that they couldn't think of before. But when you scam or cause violence or take money from other people through taxes or inflation or outright theft or scamming or whatever, what you're doing is really kind of almost negative sum, because in the theft itself, you caused, more, in order to prevent it, you cause people to spend more in order for security and all that stuff. You're also, not putting in productive capacity. So you always grow the pie when you're creating goods and services, but you're shrinking the pie slightly, at least, on net even, as you scam and so on. So
if they had just done nothing, it would be neutral. But they're actually causing us to lose.
Yeah.
And I think this goes well towards the next scammer of the year, who it says right here, Jorg Molt, who is pretty interesting. He has kind of a mad Bitcoins like hat on here. And as I recall, his main claim to fame is that he had a picture with Andreas Antonopoulos. And based on this picture, he was purporting himself as Satoshi, because only Satoshi could have a picture with Andreas Antonopoulos, as you know.
I just am amazed that people can fall for this again, especially so soon
Has
after
anyone
Fake Toshi.
actually-
No, people believe that. People were asking me.
He had a team
people were
of
asking
business
me.
people that worked with him that were collecting money and other things, because naturally, if I told you I was working with the real Satoshi, you would want to invest in my company, right? Like right here, right now, $100,000 into my company. And yeah, I'm flying around making speeches to promote the work of the real Satoshi. I mean, I work right with him, hand in hand.
This is a bigger question. Like, we see these people popping up again and again, and people believe it every time. Why do people fall for this stuff? The same lies that are told over and over again in this space. I get the same question. Oh, I heard this guy out of Europe now says he's a Satoshi. Is he the real? I'm like, come on, dude. You've heard this last year with the guy out of Australia. I mean, it's the same thing over and over again.
It's a regional scam. You can run it.
Well, but at the same,
you just need someone that speaks another language.
And then they ask about what's the mining called no, not just the oh god.
BitcoinMeister.
No. The special mining, the
Citadel.
No. That's going to change. Oh God, it's going to change.
Quantum mechanics.
Quantum. Thank you.
Yeah.
I get the quantum question every month or so. Like, oh, I heard this because someone comes out with a new quantum article every month,
eyeballs.
and it freaks people out. They keep falling
like the
for it
idea of
over
people
again.
breaking Bitcoin. Yeah. It's exciting.
So there's always like a portion of the population that will fall for that because their brains are hardwired a certain way, where like they want to at some level believe that they know something that other people and like it's a psychological thing. So you're always going to have scammers like that. Other people, I mean, like rationality or critical thinking is just not that important to them, and
they don't teach it anymore either. They don't teach it in school. They don't train kids.
Like philosophy and things like that are enormously practically useful. It's just like not really taught the right way anymore. And it's whatever your own truth is, right? Like, and I mean, we were talking about religion earlier, but a lot of what gets missing once you have sort of like the default atheist sort of like morality that is sort of like taken as the standard is that, well, you make your own truth, right? Like beauty and truth don't exist. So therefore, like you can believe whatever you want. And this justifies people believing whatever they want to believe. And like using rationality as a justification of what they want to believe instead of a tool to discover truth. And those are very, very different ways to use your brain. One ends in tragedy, one ends in enlightenment.
So the ultimate postmodernism is this guy with his hat pretending to be Satoshi because he knows Andreas.
Yeah, it's only available in a society and civilization that doesn't think that there's rational truth. So that's.
Well, we already talked about Craig Wright more than enough.
Oh yeah, no.
We've got the rational truth of him.
Oh, that's an interesting guy.
This is an interesting story. Justin Sun from Tron nominated for Scammer of the Year. Recently, Tron raised a lot of money. Then they bought the company BitTorrent, not Bram Cohen, the guy who invented BitTorrent. He doesn't like Tron at all. Says he mutes and blocks anyone that mentions it to him. Later on, Tron recently bought the company Steemit. Pretty interesting. I thought it was a decentralized blockchain company. Oh, we talked about that a little. But then there's a whole new ripple in Tron, to use a fun word, where Tron is leaving the Ethereum, being a token on Ethereum, and is going to become a liquid token on Bitcoin. This has caused a lot of Bitcoiners to suddenly start supporting Tron, at least on the face. It seems like they're supporting Tron, but maybe it's just a big joke. And then we have to talk about whether or not that joke's funny. So, Adam, what do you think? Should we all stop supporting Bitcoin and Ethereum and should we start supporting Tron? And again, this is also, he successfully stole the name from the Disney company.
I know.
This is a huge balls. Like if I thought I could steal a name Mickey Mouse, I would be naming my broadcast thing Mickey Mouse tomorrow. Like it's a great name recognition. It's endless copyright. They expand the copyright.
I think marijuana distributors also kind of steal names for that reason, right?
Sure,
like, they have like interesting names for like strands of weed that's based on stuff that people actually know.
The crazy part about that is there's strands of weed now, like the 311, the band, has a song called Amber, and they sell a strain called Amber.
Yeah.
And it has the logo of the band on it and everything. It's just bizarre, the level of getting to it. Mike Tyson having a ranch. If you have the money, you can go smoke with Mike.
Wow.
It would be both terrifying and I just don't know, mainly terrifying.
Well, let's talk about this dude though. So I like his new gimmick. It's like I'm buying distressed assets with the money that I'm printing out of thin air.
It's pretty cool.
And I think it is pretty cool. I'm not calling him a scammer or anything like that. I think it's innovative. It's getting a lot of people excited.
I also like the thing where he takes pictures with social media influencers, and it's kind of like he buys them. He's like, "You support my project now. You support my project now," because he has the money to travel there and to get the picture. which proves
Yeah.
that they support him, right?
Was it him?
Yeah, he was with Warren Buffett. But you asked it.
Kobe Bryant, I think. He took a picture.
Rest in peace.
That's legendary.
If you think the question is the Tron thing a joke or not, or is it a funny joke? So Udi basically started it. Udi did it to trigger Ethereum people. Ethereum people don't like Tron apparently. So if you say Tron is the best thing, Ethereum people get angry, and then people just took it to a whole new level. So it was funny at first, but I think it jumped the shark. I think the Tron thing on Twitter.
I think it's funny if Udi does it because I know he's kind of a troll, right? But then when I see Adam Back taking a picture with the Tron guy, I'm starting to wonder, like, are they doing anything to get these liquid assets? Do they somehow benefit from their more assets on liquid? Is there like a reason?
Well, so the reason behind, like, I think Tron on liquid, at least from a technical level, is that running these blockchains is actually very, very difficult. It's a huge IT cost for any exchange, right? So you could run Tron, have the Tron token, and like trade it that way. It's expensive. It's hard. You put it on liquid and have the Tron Foundation back it. Now you don't have to run the blockchain anymore. You reduce the cost for those people. So that's ostensibly why he wants people like these altcoins and shitcoins on liquid, so that it's actually easier and make it very clear. Okay, it's a centralized shitcoin because there's a foundation backing it, obviously. But if you want like instant transfers, you don't have to. It reduces costs for all these exchanges and stuff like that. It makes sense.
Well, and I know you talked about this years ago that when the Bcash fork happened, all the exchanges were forced to use their engineering resources at last minute to prepare for this fork, either offering it, not offering it, splitting it, not splitting it, putting a line on your page says, don't send Bitcoin Cash to this address. Even that alone, like engineering resources were force spent. If you want to do marketing or something else, you can't do it. You have to do that. So this would be better for them.
I mean, I think that's probably the direction that he wants it to go in, and ultimately causing the demise of these because, it's just an asset that really has no pegging to anything in reality. It's just some blockchain is running somewhere and apparently has my money. But it's to make it like more transparently a trading thingy than it already is, because like most people that own Tron just own it on an exchange. They have no idea.
It's to unlock the power of tokens.
What's the utility meant to be in it? What's the purpose?
I think it's supposed to be an Ethereum competitor. You should be able to launch coins on it, and I think that's totally over and done with. Like no one's really launching coins anymore.
I've got a question about Ethereum for the panel here. Because you said Tron is an Ethereum competitor. There are a few different ones trying to be Ethereum. I think, and people disagree with me on this, I think Ethereum is the next Ethereum. I don't think anyone is going to be able to be the next Ethereum and overtake it. And I think it's going to stick around too, even though
Ethereum
it does its own thing.
Ethereum isn't what Ethereum was, right? Like, so they started as they started out as Coda's Law smart contract platform. Then they pivoted to a platform to launch tokens. Then they pivoted to a platform to launch like non-fungible assets or like CryptoKitties and stuff like that. Then they pivoted to DeFi and stuff like that. Now they're pivoting again to store of value. So like in a sense, like which Ethereum do you mean? Like, right? Like all of these platforms, I think, are trying to go after the ICO and non-fungible market.
Is it not a pivot, but more an evolution of the technology? Like with internet, like you first started off as just for sending mail, but it's not that it's a pivot, but it's just another avenue that's open.
I mean, they spend a lot of marketing money on this stuff, right? From the Ethereum Foundation and stuff. So those two are not really distinguishable. Yeah, it could have done it like pretty early too, but it's whatever. It's kind of like what you were saying about like little small wins that you give to the community. Yep. This is their small win every time they pivot is, oh, look, we're this now. Oh, look, we're this now. And look, we're way more innovative than Bitcoin because we're doing these complicated smart contracts that you can.
They set the trend of the month. DeFi is now the trend, or the trend of the year. DeFi is the big thing. They send the, and that helps.
And
that's what I think they're going to remain number two.
Created the idea of the young wunderkind founder, the genius that we could all look to, who did all the work himself. No one else helped him. This all came from one man, the one genius.
Well, that was an archetype already in Silicon Valley after Mark Zuckerberg and many others.
Yeah,
and they wanted to,
fail, right?
Well, and they wanted
Uber
to
going up and down. I mean,
No.
these WeWork going up and down. I mean, these singular genius inventors giving them all the money up front, expecting profits later.
In that way, Steve Jobs has served as a very bad example for everybody else, because everyone's looking for the next Steve Jobs. Yeah. When in fact, he's a once in a generation kind of person.
But there are a lot of people that could pretend.
Yeah, kind of a jerk.
Well, you said that archetype was set in Silicon Valley, and you're absolutely correct. And because of that, those people in Silicon Valley, they love Vitalik. And I think that's why Ethereum is going to be able to stay
it's
what
a
it is.
religious thing. They were set up to believe John the Baptist is the one, and John the Baptist showed up, and they're like, hey,
because Bitcoin does not have that figure. So next one down is Ethereum. They have that guy. They will stay number 2. I don't care what gimmick they come up with next. I really, they're loved by a lot of smart people from Silicon Valley for some reason.
Well, again, Silicon Valley people, especially VCs, they too use rationality as a way to rationalize what they want to believe.
And they're trying to avoid risk, right? They're like the guys that make the movies, sequels, remakes, comic book movies, less risk.
No, well, they want risk in a good way, though.
Well, they want good risk. They want exposure to upside.
There was a really good tweet a little bit ago about like what Silicon Valley VCs think they're doing, which is they think they're really, really good at finding undervalued companies. And they really think that they're extremely good at identifying new trends or something like that. When in fact, what they're actually doing is piling onto other ones that other people have found, or paying way too much for projects in order to get in on a deal. So that's, I think, a much bigger, like they want to believe themselves to be smart. So they are forced to believe, okay, I see something about Ethereum. And these are really smart people. That's the thing but they're using their rationality in kind of this weird way of justifying what they want to believe rather than to seek out the truth. And again, this is what got me in the conversation is, that's the basis of, that has to be the basis of your belief if you want to have success, I think. In any other world, that just, it's a path to destruction, right?
There's probably an element of putting their money into Ethereum-based projects and kind of doing their research and being like, okay, I'm gonna make this my investment in Ethereum work by believing it even more, and defining my own logic as to why it will work.
Yeah, this happens a lot in academia, actually. Like a lot of people, like after they publish a paper, there'll be rebuttals, right? Like it's like, oh, you're wrong about this, this, and this. And they use all of their creativity to defend themselves on why their critics were actually wrong, right? You see a lot of writers do the same thing as well. And that's, again, using your rationality to justify what you want to believe, which is that you are correct, rather than seeking out the actual truth. And this is a very difficult virtue, guys. And the human nature tends to want to like believe certain things, and you let what your dreams are control what you believe about reality. And that's I could believe I can fly, but that's not going to make me fly, right?
But it feels good to believe things. People like that. Remember, Socrates said the truth is knowing that you know nothing. But that was not at all satisfactory to anyone. And they later killed him for polluting the minds of the youth of Athens. But knowing that you know nothing is not valuable. It doesn't feel good, but it is true. Mm-hmm. But believing in something, having a one thing and saying that's the truth, whether it's any number of these rigid beliefs that people have, that's satisfying. Because you know the truth.
Yeah, and believing that you know the truth, that you're right, that you're important, that you have some secret that other people don't have, that you're in some way special, is something that everyone craves. So in a sense, they're letting their emotional needs dictate their thoughts, and that's not a good place to be in, guys. And that. Yeah,
I've got a question for the panel that's somewhat related. We were just talking about DeFi, Ethereum, et cetera, et cetera. Do you guys think the DeFi craze and pump will be bigger than the ICO one?
I think it's dying already. No?
I'm afraid in general that all the altcoins are going to follow Bitcoin back up. So if Bitcoin makes a big move, all these other things make a big move, regardless of what they are, not because they're good or bad, but just because they're following the leader. Yeah. New money, then they make the money on Bitcoin, then they put it somewhere else.
Low, and it could do what Bitcoin does.
Well, I'm trying to predict the next mania because that was the big one. ICO was the most ridiculous one during the 2017 pump, and I think this DeFi thing might be the thing.
So what
many
can we
people
buy?
are piling in.
What are the leaders in the early DeFi?
Oh, I have no. I don't
All
know.
we need
Thank
is their
the
names.
Lord.
It doesn't matter.
I know people that can tell you about it and stuff. I hear them all.
So these are really complicated financial derivative products, and most of them act in some way, shape, or form like a central bank.
Yeah,
and they use those tools. So it's not an easy one for people to get into.
You could throw money at it.
You could buy the token usually, like MakerDAO. You can buy that token, and depending on
it sounds like we've gone pretty far down from be your own bank to be your own central bank.
Yeah. I mean,
I never wanted to be one of those.
Well, that's what every altcoin is be your own central bank, be your own printer of money or whatever, and Justin Sun being one of them.
Yeah.
The whole idea though behind DeFi is complex derivative products, so you could bet on more or less anything, and these are not secure, and they're done in a way that's really complicated. So I mean, it'll be as popular as say like options are. Now there are options traders, lots of them, but like the regular man on the street, they don't really get into options per se. They get into more stocks or something like that they can actually understand, like futures, options, like derivative products off of those, CDPs and all kinds of those are way too complicated, and that's why I think DeFi is not like it's not that there wouldn't be a proliferation of them if there was demand. It's just too hard for people to understand. ICO was like kind of like, oh, okay, you buy this token, number go up. That was the idea. Like with DeFi, it's like, well, you can lock up your Ethereum and then get a loan in dollars, and then you may be able to pay it back for cheaper when Ethereum goes up. So like the value prop is like really difficult to kind of explain. And I don't think people will necessarily like that. Doesn't seem like an easy way to like for scammers, you need like an easy hook. Here's how you're going to make money, right? Like, and I don't think that exists with DeFi.
Dr. Ruja is going to double your coins by November.
Yeah. This is why like Richard Hart was so adamantly saying every single time that he was on TV or any channel, they will risklessly make 600 times their money in 1 year, right? Like, because that's the ultimate message that he wanted to get out, and that's what everyone wanted to believe. In order for them to make money is that they will be a millionaire by next year because they put like $200 in Hex or something like that, and that's what they wanted to believe. And it's kind of sad, but it's how people buy lottery tickets too, right? It's like buy 10.
We're right here in Las Vegas.
Perfect.
All the odds are clearly against you, but yet you gamble anyway.
Yeah, yeah, and like everyone believes that they're really good at poker, even if they're not, right? Like this is what they want to believe, and therefore
so we have the poker tournament is coming up tonight.
It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow, Jimmy, will you be participating?
No, I'm going back home tonight.
You're on the final
I
table.
knocked out Doug Polk. I came in like 13th. That was it. Yeah. So that was off the bucket list, but I still feel bad because it was Ace Jack. I had Ace Jack, he had Ace King suited, and I still beat him.
Oh yeah, he's got a good hand there, Ace King.
Yeah.
Suited. Wow.
I was on Tape's table and I beat in the first hand. I beat Tape, then after that I lost.
All downhill.
He carried on way longer than me.
Yeah. It was a fun tournament, but I don't think I could justify spending like 8 hours at a table for.
God almighty.
Yeah, I mean,
and you were incredibly focused too. I see you had the poker face. You're like locked in.
Well, that's kind of my style of playing, and I think it comes from being an engineer. You just wait.
Nice.
Wait, and then like you have like a moment of crisis where you have to make a move, and then you do it, and then you wait. It's as they say, hours of boredom, seconds of terror. Yeah.
I kept trying to get good cards. The good cards never came. I survived though. I think I got to play with Phil Lack and Jennifer Tilley for a little bit. That was pretty amazing. But I was out.
The thing about poker, especially when the blinds are going up, like you're forced to make a move at a certain point. So you kind of,
it got tighter and tighter and tighter, and
Yeah.
soon I was out of space. So,
yeah. And if you get good cards, then you have to take advantage of it. So it gets to be this weird thing. So
even though if you're not going to participate, who's going to win? Who's your odds-on favorite? We got Tone. I think Phil Lack, Jennifer Tilly, Doug Polk might be coming back. A lot of professional.
I would say one of
poker
the
players.
professional poker players, because
Not Adam Meister, not the man out of left field.
I'm not playing.
So the thing about Tone last year was he sucked out like 5 times. He should have been knocked out at like 50th play, but he beat like 80-20 odds.
There was also a lot of head hunting. I think people wanted to get you and Tone out. There's a bounty or some system. So you could.
I had a decent amount of chips, and people kept going all in on me where I was in the big blind, and it was like only a little bit more to call them. So I had to call with trash sometimes. And I sucked out on those. So it was like, okay, well, I can't really do much, but sorry. But I mean, it was just rational to do. I like the game, and I like the game theory aspect of it. And that's really, I think, the only way to play it. But yeah, it's one of those things, kind of like, I think the line I heard was sex and poker. Everyone thinks they're good at it, but can't be the true.
Well, what do we got? What do we got on the agenda here? Well, it'll be great to see who wins the awards, though. I will say that.
You've got to vote on. So go to the website, which is.
Oh yeah, people vote on the. You can still vote.
It's on Twitter. If you go to Unconfiscatable, there's voting that you can go and look at, and you can just just click those, and then we'll count those.
Yeah, so that party's tonight. It's been great, like meeting all these people in person for real. I mean, it's
have you not done that?
Well, there's some people I'd never met Juan Galt in person before. You and I really haven't. You were in Tel Aviv when I was in Tel Aviv, and there were so many people watching you. I was outside, and I just said, "Pound that like button." That's basically what I said. So you knew I was there, but we've actually never met in person. We've talked.
Nice.
Yeah.
There we go.
But we were in the same area and everything. But I've met this dude before, of course.
Yeah.
We should get some people. But no, it's been a pleasure. There are a lot of cool, true Bitcoiners here today. Really true. No, here, take my place. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to bring you a lovely lady of Bitcoin. You guys want to see her more than me.